After my husband died on the battlefield, I vowed never to remarry, earning our family a chastity arch and a tax reduction. But one day, a woman splashed slop on my chastity arch, shouting, "Chaste widow? You're nothing but a cheap slut who seduced another woman's husband." I stood there stunned, when suddenly a barrage of comments appeared before my eyes. Good for her. In her past life, everything that which earned through hard work was given to that tramp by her scumbag husband, leaving her to survive on wild greens. Even the school slot she fought for her kid was given to that witch's child. Karma finally caught up. The heroine is reborn. This time, she'll make sure the scumbag and the slut die a miserable death. What nonsense! I never did any of those things. I grabbed a big broom and swung it at her. How dare you slander my name? I'll fight you. For a woman, reputation is everything, especially for one like me, who has a chastity arch. This could even land me in jail. I brought the broom down on her head, and she was barely able to defend herself. She stumbled back, but never stopped spewing curses. "You slut. You seduced my husband, and now you dare hit me. Someone help. Quickly report to the authorities and drown this adulteress in a pig cage. How dare she still spout nonsense?" I threw the broom aside. I pounced on her, pinning her beneath me, and began slapping her left and right across the face. I beat her until her face was swollen like a pig's head. A venomous gleam flashed to her eyes, and she tried to scream, so I directly reached out, grabbed her mouth and pulled it outward. I yelled, "You want to talk dirty? You want to spout nonsense?" I yanked hard, and she could only let out muffled sobs. Wait, is this adulteress really that tough? She can even tangle with the female lead? But the female lead is used to heavy labor. Where did these strange words come from? Let's set that aside for now. The urgent task is to take this woman who dares to ruin my reputation to the authorities. I was afraid if I let go, she would run away. So, gripping her hair, I said to the auntie who was watching the show, "Please hand me a stick. I need to break her legs, so she can't escape." Upon hearing this, the auntie immediately looked around for a stick. What was finally handed to me was a freshly broken table leg. The woman's eyes finally showed fear. The words appeared faster and faster. No way. She really wanted to break the female lead's legs. This is too lawless. What to do? What to do? Female lead. Fight back. Fight back? Not possible. A widow's door is full of gossip. Over these years of widowhood, I've dealt easily with those rogues trying to harass me. And this mere peasant woman? One swing of my stick, and I beat her until she screamed like a stuck pig. Then I grabbed her hair and dragged her to the government office. As I walked, I shouted, "Everyone, judge for yourselves. I, Li Zhang, have been a widow for years, never involved with any other man. But today, this wretched woman dares to slander me, claiming I had an affair with her husband." Like this, more and more people followed me to the government office. This is the first time I've seen such a disgraceful female lead. Wait, how can this female supporting character be so righteous? Because I didn't do it, I am naturally righteous. Once at the government office, I sat directly on the ground, slapped my thigh, and began to wail, "Your Honor, you must seek justice for me." There were people slandering me, saying I was not faithful to my late husband. I cried and threw a tantrum, even made as if to ram into a pillar, saying I'd rather die. I finally managed to shout the county magistrate out. This woman, the so-called female lead, stopped pretending to be dead. She scrambled up from the ground and started shouting too, "Your Honor, she committed adultery with my husband." I immediately retorted, "Nonsense. Who is your husband?" She sneered and said, "Lu Yuan, your late husband's lieutenant." Upon hearing that, I was stunned. After my husband went missing in battle, his lieutenant had indeed been taking care of our household. I had even begged him to search for my husband again, saying he might still be alive. But Lu Yuan said, "My husband took a sword for him on the battlefield and died on the spot." The only reason they called it missing was because there were too many disfigured corpses to identify. Seeing him speak so convincingly, and how he often visited my parents-in-law, supposedly out of gratitude, I believed him. But I do know Lu Yuan, but we never had any private dealings. Every time he came, my father-in-law received him. What makes you think I had an affair with him? Ruining my reputation. Don't you know that a woman's reputation is? How important could it be? How dare she say that with a straight face? Given what she just did, she's hardly someone who cares about her reputation. I saw this but paid no mind, only listened carefully to the so-called female lead's argument. She tricked my husband, took the family silver to make her jewelry and headpieces. I earned an admission spot for my son at Egret Academy, and she stole that too. Please, Your Honor, investigate. My family has no grain to cook with anymore. As she spoke, she sobbed a few times. I stared at her. She cried as if deeply wronged, not like she was faking it. Yeah. The supporting female's actions are truly disgusting. If you can't afford to raise a child, just remarry. Why go mess with a married man? That scumbag is also cheap, lured by a widow's finger. It made me very uncomfortable to watch. But I was afraid of disturbing spirits or ghosts, that something bad might happen. So it wasn't good to contend with them. So I turned my anger toward the female lead. Your husband is just a low-ranking soldier, even if he drains all your family's wealth. What use is that? If I wanted a man or needed money, I could simply remarry into a family of equal status. With a late husband as handsome and wealthy as mine, how could I ever fancy your husband? Besides, why would my son steal your son's school spot? That white Egret Academy has such high tuition. How can you afford it? The female lead sneered upon hearing this. Naturally, I earned it through hard work. As for the spot at White Egret Academy, I got it by taking on the laundry for all the teachers and students there. That's what I traded for it. Yes. The female lead washed so many clothes in the dead of winter that her hands swelled. The supporting female character tricked her way in effortlessly. How infuriating. I instinctively looked at her hands. Indeed, they were red and swollen. But I sneered. Most students at White Egret Academy come from wealthy families, each with their own laundresses at home. They don't need outsiders. If washing their clothes could earn a spot, many women would be willing to do it. How could it possibly be your turn? The supporting female character wasn't wrong. White Egret Academy is like Tsinghua or Peking University. Ordinary people can't even get close to it, let alone do their laundry. If washing clothes could get you into Huaqing, people would be fighting mad for that spot. But she's the female lead. The female lead has a halo. The washing is real, the spot is real, and her son's spot is truly gone. She opened her mouth to argue, but I was too lazy to keep tangling with her. Your Honor, this matter likely concerns Lu Yuan. Why not summon Lu Yuan for questioning? I straightened up. I will never allow anyone to slander my reputation. Otherwise, I will dash my head against that archway. My husband's family is not some obscure household. They are one of the few great landowners within 100 miles. This county magistrate is also related to my maiden family. Otherwise, how could I have obtained this chastity archway? You must know, the chastity archway not only reduces taxes, but also prevents me from being forcibly remarried and stops my mother-in-law from driving me out. My parents wanted me to remarry, but I stayed at my husband's home to guard my son's inheritance, the family's fortune and status. It's enough for a peaceful life. Without a husband, and without the troubles of the back courtyard, and with a good reputation. These are blessings that ordinary women can't even dream of. Besides, what good is remarrying compared to being a widow? The magistrate shot me a glare and summoned Lu Yuan. Just when I thought all this was a misunderstanding by the heroine, Lu Yuan came to court and confessed to our affair, insisting over and over. My sister-in-law lived a hard life, so I only helped her a bit. Feelings grew over time, and every mistake is mine alone. I begged the magistrate to punish me, but not to blame her. The crowd of onlookers erupted in murmurs, pointing at me accusingly. At that moment, I was oddly calm. He was slandering me. Why? He was clearly my husband's trusted confidant. My instincts screamed something was off. But I asked him, "Do you mean you actually gave your son's spot to my son?" Hearing this, Lu Yuan gazed at me with deep affection, calling me by my childhood name. Yinger, don't struggle anymore. Let go of that chastity archway. From now on, our family can be together in happiness and harmony. He knew my pet name. Aside from my family, only my husband knew it. How could he? In a flash, a suspicion formed in my mind. Behind this whole affair, there might be a mastermind, feeding information to Lu Yuan. But how could that be? Wasn't my husband dead? I looked toward the magistrate, who slammed the gavel. You claim that Li Zhangshi committed adultery with you, so you gave your son's spot to Li Zhangshi. Then I ask you, Li Zhongshi's uncle-in-law is the dean of the White Egret Academy. Why would she go so far? Ask for your son's spot instead? Lu Yuan heard this, sweat trickling down his forehead. Because she was jealous. He looked at the magistrate with a clear conscience. She hated that I couldn't divorce my wife and marry her, so she took it out on my son. She insisted I swap my son's spot for hers. I was bewitched. Your Honor, I can prove that I indeed had an illicit relationship with her. She has a red mole 3 fingers below her navel. At that moment, I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cellar. Wait, is this the plot? The scumbag should have denied it to the death. Why is he acting like he's dragging the female supporting character to die with him? Right? Wasn't he deeply in love with her? If the adultery were confirmed, I would surely face death. So instead, thinking this, I hardened my heart. I banged my head on the ground before the magistrate. If I cannot prove my innocence, then I beg you, Your Honor, to sentence me for adultery. The female supporting character is seeking her own death. I gritted my teeth and glared viciously at Lu Yuan, saying, I am a woman who has been awarded a chastity arch. Yet Lu Yuan committed adultery with me, and deserves to die. I begged the magistrate to have him sliced by 1,000 cuts. As a warning to others. Lu Yuan roared, pointing at me. You. I looked straight at the magistrate and said, word by word, I request that the magistrate personally oversee the execution so that he does not escape the law. Although it's absurd, I feel that my husband is still alive. Lu Yuan's persecution of me might be at his behest. The more I think about it, the more certain I become. Yes, no body seen alive or dead. Saying he's dead is just Lu Yuan's one-sided story. Gold and silver or a promotion. He must have promised something, which is why Lu Yuan is hellbent on framing me. The magistrate's expression turned serious. WTF? What's happening? Is there some hidden plot? Some big shot? Open VIP and spoil the plot for me, please. Lu Yuan, you really did have an affair with Li Zhang's wife. Committing adultery with a chaste widow is unpardonable. The magistrate lowered his voice, a mocking tone on his lips. If you confess, then sign your confession. Lu Yuan heard this, and beads of sweat kept trickling down his forehead. Just as someone brought over the confession papers, he suddenly shouted like a madman. No, Your Honor. Your Honor. I did not commit adultery with my sister-in-law. Upon hearing this, the magistrate flew into a rage and slammed the gavel. You just said you did commit adultery. Now you say you didn't. Are you mocking me? Men, give him 10 strokes at the board. Make him think it over properly. Upon hearing this, the female lead showed a dissatisfied expression. Your Honor, he clearly fears being sliced to death. That's why he's backtracking and saying he didn't commit adultery. The magistrate looked at the female lead with an equally displeased expression. Is it your place to tell me how to do my job? With a wave of his hand, considering you're an ignorant woman, I'll give you just 5 strokes. When the magistrate gives an order, who dares disobey? So the so-called male and female leads were pressed to the ground to receive their punishment. The screams rising one after another made it hard for me to watch. Good heavens, how brutal. 1 stroke down, and blood was already seeping from their buttocks. Wait, is Lu Yuan really that useless? Even a mere magistrate can handle him? This female villain's family has power and influence. If she wants to find a fall guy, she really doesn't need to pick him. I gritted my teeth and looked at Lu Yuan, who was being punished. The blows from the man seemed light and gentle, but each one made the bloodstains on his pants grow larger. Lu Yuan couldn't take it anymore. I'll talk, he said. It was Big Brother who told me to frame sister-in-law. As soon as these abrupt words were spoken, everyone present furrowed their brows. I let out a shriek and threw myself forward, putting on a show of a grief-stricken widow. It wasn't enough for you to frame me? Now you want to frame my husband too? He treated you like a brother. On the battlefield, he even took a sword for you. I threw back at him all the words he had once said to me. My eyes bloodshot, I accused him. What has our family ever done to you, that you harbor such hatred for me and my husband? The magistrate was also enraged. Beat him. Beat this ungrateful wretch, he ordered. Lu Yuan screamed in agony from the beating. TSK, those yamen runners really had skill. Each strike of the board injured muscles and broke bones. If he actually took 20 strokes, he'd be bedridden for life. Lu Yuan knew some martial arts himself. He realized something was wrong, so he spilled the news. Lu Yuan wailed, "It's really Big Brother. Big Brother isn't dead. Back then, Big Brother didn't go missing on the battlefield. He actually went to find his sweetheart and live a blissful life together. He thought you wouldn't stay faithful, so he planned to wait until you remarried, then come back. Who would have thought? You actually became a chaste widow. Since Big Brother's illegitimate child needs to study, they must return to the clan. So that's why." I sinisterly finished the sentence. "So you deliberately framed me, just to make me give up my position." Lu Yuan gritted his teeth and dared not say more, afraid of being crippled. But he didn't dare say anything more, fearing retaliation from my husband later. Upon hearing this, the heroine couldn't believe it. "No, how is that possible?" She shook her head and screamed heart-wrenchingly. "You're just saying that to save your skin. You two are having an affair." The heroine couldn't accept it. From start to finish, besides me, she was also deceived. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuan almost coughed up blood. Look at her appearance. Could she possibly fancy me? "You foolish woman. Are you trying to get me killed?" The heroine was still unwilling. The money and the slots, she had already told the truth. Lu Yuan also threw caution to the wind. He gave everything to Big Brother, and Big Brother's illegitimate child also needed to go to school. When Big Brother comes back and promotes me, there's nothing I won't have. The thing I regret most in this life is marrying a short-sighted idiot like you. All the care was actually given to Zhang Qian. It was just using her, the widowed sister-in-law, as a front. She didn't lack anything. The ones who really lacked things and needed to be filled were only Zhang Qian's family living in hiding. Wait, let me sort this out. So the jerk wasn't really a jerk. He didn't intend of both. He exploited the heroine and got close to the other woman. It was to please the boss and climb the ladder. So it was the heroine's misunderstanding, and she even ruined her husband's promotion opportunity. Upstairs, watch your stance. Think about it, the heroine is reborn. Frankly, the jerk exploited the heroine and the child to secure a bright future for himself. That other woman was really wronged. She was falsely accused of having an affair. The heroine was exhausted too. In the end, the two jerks both successfully rose to fame and embraced new lovers. This hidden plot shocked me. I always thought this trope was flawed, falling for the leader's widow. Aren't you afraid the leader will crawl back from the grave? I looked at the so-called female lead, and on her face appeared a trace of regret, unwillingness, and even a hint of guilt, as if she had truly wronged the male lead. My heart jolted. Wait, the female lead isn't going to forgive the scumbag, is she? Just because the scumbag had an affair with the female supporting character, her hatred disappears? No. Think about all the suffering you endured in your past life. Thanks to these words, I know what kind of life this female lead lived. A perfect virtuous wife and loving mother. Husband is everything, son is her life. The scumbag husband didn't bring money home, so she would rather work in public to earn it. The husband favored his younger siblings, giving his sons clothes, eggs, and meat to their children. She endured it. When the child cried for meat and new clothes, she felt so guilty and worked desperately outside. It made the son feel sorry for her, and to supplement the family income, he often went to the river to catch fish and shrimp, doing hard labor. In her past life, her child died, and it was all because of her. I simply couldn't believe it. What woman would value her husband more than her own child, especially such a well-behaved, sensible child? And yet, with a second chance at life, she could still forgive? Any pity I had for the female protagonist instantly vanished. I even felt that her fate in the previous life was well-deserved. Such a cowardly, useless woman, relying on a man, didn't deserve a second chance. After Lu Yuan confessed, the magistrate sent people to arrest my husband. But the place he went to was completely empty. He had been watching closely, and as soon as news broke, he ran. Your in-laws, whom you often served, hid him and the family he kept outside in a village outside the city. If they couldn't catch him, then Lu Yuan's claims would be false. So both the female supporting character and the scumbag would have to die together. Indeed, because there was no way to prove Lu Yuan was telling the truth. I couldn't bring myself to say these words out loud. He and I were thrown into prison, dark and damp. Just stepping inside was already extremely uncomfortable. Thanks to my connection with the county magistrate, I was arranged a small, somewhat bright private cell. When the other prisoners hurled obscenities at me, the jailers would teach them a lesson. Gradually, the noise around me quieted down. "Madam Lee, please eat." This was specially ordered by the county magistrate. "It's mealtime now." A servant-like figure brought in a food box. Opening it, I saw all my favorite dishes: a treasure duck, osmanthus chicken, and white jade congee. I froze for a moment. Truly, having a backer makes all the difference. The supporting female character was dining like an imperial feast, while the scumbag inside was getting his fill of fists. I stared at the dishes for a long time. Seeing this, the servant grew impatient and urged, "Madam, why aren't you eating? The county magistrate has shown special favor. Please finish quickly, so I can take the food box away." I looked at the servant, expressionless, and pulled out the silver hairpin from my hair. I poked it around in the dishes a few times. Sure enough, the silver hairpin turned black. Seeing this, the servant's face twisted into a vicious look. He grabbed a plate and tried to force-feed me, but I stepped back, holding a hairpin in a defensive posture. Someone's trying to kill me." The jailer heard the sound and came. The servant was about to strike again, so I stabbed him directly with the hairpin, hitting his left eye. As he covered his bleeding eye and screamed, the jailer arrived in time, saving me. In the prison, someone had attempted to silence a witness. The county magistrate heard the news and came. Seeing this, he sneered repeatedly. "That husband of yours is quite something. No wonder your parents liked him so much back then. It's a pity he uses all those skills on you. My husband wanted me to step aside and make room for his beloved. If I died, he would achieve his goal. I just never thought he would actually go through with it. After all, my family was not of low status, and I was a well-known chaste widow." Today, Lu Yuan had already laid out his scheme clearly. If I died under unclear circumstances, he would become the prime suspect. From then on, the two families would be at odds. In the past, I never knew my husband was such a vicious person. Unbelievable. They even resorted to poisoning. How did the female supporting character know the food was drugged? The county magistrate and the female supporting character are indeed relatives. It's understandable to give some extra care, but the county magistrate already tried to avoid favoritism in court. Why go out of his way to prepare such a lavish meal? If it were me, wanting to look after a younger relative in prison, I'd simply make sure someone protects them. Just ensuring they have decent food and drink would be enough. The magistrate seemed troubled, so I pretended I'd just thought of something. I said, "My in-laws once took in a poor relative and settled them on a farm outside the city. Sir, you could go and check there." Zhang Qian was arrested. Along with him were captured his lover and their 2 sons and 1 daughter. His existence undoubtedly proved that Lu Yuan's confession was true, but Zhang Qian refused to admit it. What my lover and I have is just a happy life outside. Why would I harm my lawful wife for no reason? Lu Yuan once tried to blackmail me over this, and I firmly rejected him. He must bear a grudge against me, and that's why he framed me and Inger. Damn, what a scumbag. He sure knows how to twist the truth. The magistrate knew he was lying but couldn't easily deal with him. If something happened to him, how will the supporting female character survive? After all, this is ancient times, and the husband is everything. Isn't it absurd that she must joyfully accept her husband's return from the dead? Accept him and all his family back? Yes, I have no choice. The magistrate, on charges of false accusation, imprisons Lu Yuan, and I have no choice but to accept the situation and bring Zhang Qian and the others back to the mansion. At least it's better than being accused of adultery. I returned to the mansion with Zhang Qian and the others. My in-laws put on a overjoyed appearance, hugging Zhang Qian and crying, "My son, you've finally returned." Fortunately, they're indifferent toward the child Zhang Qian brought back. After all, my child has grown up. Having grown up under the eyes of the elders, they are naturally more satisfactory than the bastard born of an outside woman. The woman Zhang Qian brought back is quite delicate and attractive, reserved and silent. But before entering the mansion, she directly said arrogantly, "If you want me to enter the mansion, at least give me a title. I will not be a concubine, not a concubine." Does she expect me, the lawful wife, to give up my position? My father-in-law flies into a rage. "Qianer, you're not thinking of divorcing her, are you? Our Zhang family can't afford that disgrace." Upon hearing this, Zhang Qian just frowned and looked at me. Man Yang has been with me for many years and has borne me a child. I was thinking of granting her the status of a concurrent wife. In the future, there will be no distinction between primary and secondary. You and Man Yang can address each other as sisters. What do you think? What a despicable man. I so want to tear him apart. Indeed, when it comes to men, there's always a more shameless one. The commenter above, please don't generalize. I'm not like that. This scumbag seems willing to sacrifice everything for love. How about we call him True Love Bro? The term scumbag is overused, and it's an insult to true love. If it's true love, he should have spoken up earlier and not used the other woman as a stepping stone. I look at Zhang Qian, his face full of certainty. He probably still sees me as the gentle and obedient woman I used to be. But after all these years as a widow, facing so many covetous eyes watching me, I am no longer who I was. If my husband insists on this, then please grant me a divorce and let us part ways. I will step aside and let you have your way, my husband. I will never treat the woman who stole my husband as a sister. I refuse to yield, relying on my family background. He could do nothing to me. Otherwise, why would he have chosen to fake his death and flee? This proud woman eventually compromised. She agreed to enter the household as a concubine, but her eyes were red when she came in. Zhang Qian felt deeply sorry for her. When their child entered the household, he shoved me hard, shouting, "Stop bullying my mother." I sneered, grabbed the child, and slapped him across the face. The child wailed, and Zhang Qian flew into a rage. I merely glanced at Zhang Qian. Since when does a concubine's son call a mistress mother? My husband, do you have any objection to me disciplining the child? His parents turned a deaf ear, so Zhang Qian could only grit his teeth and accept it. Impressive, female supporting character. You gave them a show of power right away. But the fault lies with the scumbag and the mistress. What does the child have to do with it? This is no ordinary child. This is a child who can compete with the female lead son for the family inheritance. Zhang Qian was very displeased with me. So the first thing he did after returning was to demand his private savings from back then, and then those shops and farmlands were all given to those illegitimate children. That newly promoted concubine man even flaunted in front of me, saying, "Qianling loves me so much. Even as a concubine, I am far more glorious than you. In the future, this family property will surely go to my son." Ugh, so disgusting. As expected of someone who plays the mistress. Can the female lead really endure this? Endure? I'm not one to endure. It's just that men are useless to me. If someone wants them, I'll just give them away. With Zhang Qian back, having a man in the house also thwarted those clansmen's plans to seize the family property. But thinking of making moves on the property, I absolutely would not allow it. That night, in concubine man's bed, Zhang Qian took an excessive dose of aphrodisiacs and immediately had a stroke. He didn't die, just became paralyzed in bed, his mouth crooked and eyes slanted. As the legitimate wife, how could I tolerate that concubine's behavior? Right then and there, I had her beaten half to death. Zhang Qian was still unconscious. I immediately summoned the slave trader and sold her off. This is the distinction between a wife and a concubine. Zhang Qian was here, but I couldn't control her. With Zhang Qian crippled, I became her master. Her children were crying and fussing incessantly. They glared at me fiercely, vowing to take revenge when they grew up. I raised an eyebrow. Grow up? Do you think you'll have the chance to grow up? As a villainess, I'm supposed to target children. If it were me, I might do the same. Why should I let others take the estate I've worked so hard to protect? I sent people to rummage through everything Zhang Qian had given away. Then I sent the 3 children to the most remote courtyard to be raised. My in-laws wept bitterly. But they didn't dare to offend me because if they fell out with me with Zhang Qian in this state, unable to be the pillar of the family, those 2 old folks, along with a cripple and several young children, might not live long. When Zhang Qian woke up and learned of this, he kept shouting, but no one could understand what he said. However, from his hateful glare, one could tell. He hates me, but who cares? He eloped with another woman, and that was the end of my gratitude and loyalty to him. The day he came back to seize the family property and deliberately framed me, I wished I could kill him. From then on, I continued to hold power over the household. After my son passed the imperial examination, I took all the family assets and went with him to the capital. As for Zhang Qian, let him be taken care of by those 3 illiterate children. After all, no matter whom Zhang Qian mistreated, he never mistreated them. It's only right for them to fulfill their filial duties. This is a true female lead's satisfying story. Compared with her, the original female lead was truly stupid and cowardly. The story should be over by now. By the way, where is the original female lead? I don't know. Probably atoning for ruining her husband's future, serving that Lu Yuan. Didn't she get a second life? What does it matter if she did? The original plot was that after her rebirth, she would fight the scumbag and bully the cheap woman. A story of meeting true love and winning effortlessly. Her husband is still alive, and she hasn't taken him down. She can't remarry. How could she have the chance to reach the peak of life? Before rebirth, she encountered a scumbag. After rebirth, I keep encountering true love. When will this cliché trope change? Isn't it better to be strong and independent? After Zhang Qian died, I could no longer see those words. I heard he starved to death. Having leverage over those 3 children, after entrusting them to my son, I planned to live my own life. After all, Zhang Qian had come back from the dead. After that, my chastity monument was taken away. I no longer had to abide by those rules and restrictions. From then on, my life truly began. The end.